So here we are sailing with Michael Burns from MOPCO. Hey, Michael.
Hey.
Just make sure you speak loud because
yeah, we're fighting the wind.
Fighting the wind.
Yeah.
So first of all, why don't you introduce us to what MOPCO is?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm thinking maybe we're coming about soon.
Okay.
What do you think?
Got a little time, I think.
All right.
You're at the helm. You make the choice.
All right. So MOPCO is a company that has two parts. One part is the MOPCO Improv Theater, and in that MOPCO Improv Theater, we have a company of improv. I think I should be coming about.
Okay.
All right. So you've got the rope. You got the hard part.
Okay. Got it.
We have a company of improvisers. Most of the time we're performing every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights. We do classes. And part of what I like to have happen there is new companies of improvisers kind of come up out of the student body and start to perform. So I'm trying to point out a little bit here. So I managed to be just going downstream altogether because I'm an expert sailor. Yeah, so there's that aspect of the company. There's a little black box theater in Schenectady. And then the other part is Koppett, which is a organizational development and training company using improv and story and other techniques to build leaders and do team building and coaching and all sorts of things within an organizational context.
Most people have a limited idea of what improv is, based on maybe what they've seen on television.
Yeah.
But what really is improv?
Well, improv is what human beings do. We make it up all the time. We're always improvising. We take it and consciously apply principles of kind of doing that well.
I think you should tap.
I agree. Here we go. A lot of what it's based on is you have a partner. Your partner is really the only asset. We don't have a set, we don't have costumes, we don't have all this stuff. Or we do. In real life, we have the set of our office or our house, and our partner in the scene that we're playing is whoever it is that we're dealing with, a spouse or a coworker or what have you. And there are things that will make scenes go better. So the philosophy of improv is not to be clever, brittle, funny, make a joke at your partner's expense. It's to really work in a grounded way with what's happening right now in this moment between two people and try to build collaboratively with that, which is very simple, not necessarily really easy. I think I'm building a little speed, right?
I think you can come about.
Yeah. Haven't lost my touch. Hell, I haven't. Yes. See, Michael Dimin's being very nice. He's making his partner look good because he's handling the sheet. I'm just on the stick here.
That's because I have gloves.
That's
which
because
we
you have
need
expertise
today
as well. And there's no question about that.
The question I have is, how does it then differ improv between two people or improv in front of an audience of 20, 30, 50, 100 or more?
Well, there's definitely a lot of pressure when you have an audience, and a lot of that pressure is to be funny. And what I find, and I try to tell students and my performers, is trying to be funny isn't. Being real is what's going to lead to laughter. Good, rich kind of laughter. The urge to gag, I'm going to get a laugh at your expense because there's an audience, and we're going to come about, and we're going fast enough.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Could have handled that with a little more elegance. That's true. And now if I can just straighten it out, everything is going to be grand. As my grandmother used to say, she didn't say great, she said grand.
So tell me the difference between, or the range of improv, other than what we've seen on, what's that show?
Whose Line?
Whose Line Is It Anyway kind of thing? What differentiates a MOPCO show
I am not kidding. German engineers just put shit in there because it's difficult. Do you remember that Bosch dishwasher, the one I ended up just...
Oh, I hated that!
I know!
Oh, anyway.
German engineering!
And it didn't even make any sense. That thing made no noise.
How the hell are you supposed to know the dishwasher's running? A little red light on the floor. What the hell? That's Germany.
Okay.
So your ex, that's fine. I don't care. That's fine. We all have exes. I have exes. I had a fan club, for God's sakes.
Wait, what?
I didn't.
Okay.
Nobody,
You see why I can't tell if you're joking or not.
it was against the rules for anybody at RPI to have a relationship with anybody else.
I think one thing that's a differentiator is that we handle a lot of different styles of improv and formats, including we do some narrative work where we try to tell a story like a full-length play, improvised. Whose line is what's called short form, and we do that. And we're going to be coming about just...
And then come about hard. There you go.
Thank you, Captain. You prevented me from bringing us into that concrete-looking scary thing over there.
The one, the right behind you thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I think
Yeah.
I got it.
Didn't want to go into the concrete scary thing. It's a rule of sailing.
Yes.
Avoid that whenever possible.
It's probably a rule of most anything.
Most anything.
Even improv.
That's true. Oh, the wind is dying right now.
Yeah. Not for long.
No, it'll come back. It will come back. There it
Right
is.
there.
There it is.
I don't know if, like I know on the GoPro, it's hard to tell that the boat is heeling unless you look at the horizon in the back. I'm not sure about on this camera.
I'll tell you, you have a brilliant formula here, because the answers I give are not going to be those automatic answers because I'm doing something. And I'm also...
Tacking. I have to say, Mr. Burns, that is the first unintentional tack I've ever seen. I've seen unintentional jibes, but not unintentional tacks.
Hey, that was totally intentional.
You were pointing up, and then all of a sudden...
Tack.
Does improv have to be funny? I know MOPCO has been voted like the best best comedy troupe. I hate that word, troupe.
I do
in
too.
the area.
Yeah.
But does improv have to be funny?
No.
Does it have to be funny to sell?
Probably. So I actually, there are people that talk about the tyranny of funny or the addiction to being funny that improvisers fall into. And I think if you get an audience in there, they expect comedy, but you give them something real that has some laughs but also has a serious side, they will in fact accept it. But they're going to come in for comedy. That's what they think. You've got to just believe that what you're going for is what's real in this moment, and if it's funny or not should not be part of the calculus if you're acting. Right?
As a performer, though, you got to admit there's a certain... You feed off comedy.
Absolutely.
And so, as a performer, or as a younger performer, some of your students, how do you then stop them from feeding off that?
It's very, very hard, because you really are talking about like an addiction. It's like, wait, that was funny. Was it true? Is a question that I ask.
Right.
You know, are you doing a routine that you know is going to get a laugh, or are you coming about?
Yep.
Or are you really reacting in the moment to what's going on in a real way? And that's such a simple concept. It's incredibly hard for many improvisers to get a handle on that.
Change pace a little bit here. You went from kind of being a touring company to having your own space.
Yeah.
You went from being a not-for-profit company
To
to
a
being
profit.
a for-profit company. So there's been a lot of changes in the last, 10 years has it been?
More or less.
Did you make the right decision?
I ask myself that every day. I think the thing that we did that was the klutziest was have these two different operations be one LLC. On the other hand, the theater wouldn't be there if it weren't glommed onto the side of the consultancy right now because of COVID and everything else coming about. So you say tech, I say come about, they're the same thing.
They are the same thing.
And there's the thing in improv, you get people from a different town or a different troupe, and they say, oh yeah, I know that game, but we call it blah, 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 because it's a folk, really a folk art form. So things are always being rewritten by different groups and different people in different parts of the country.
You had mentioned one of the clunky things about becoming the LLC was to combine both organizations. So to clarify, you have MOPCO, which is kind of
MOPCO
your
LLC
artistic
comprises these two things: the MOPCO Improv Theater, which is artistic, and Koppett, which is my wife's last name, and she is the main driving force behind that operation.
Really curious. So, how do you use improv within a corporate setting?
How don't you? I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like this sailing, right? You are constantly having to adjust, and you make a plan and the plan goes out the window. It's great to plan. Planning is wonderful, but plans tend to be worthless because the wind changes. You know, things change in a corporate setting all the time. Who saw COVID coming? And some outfits were very flexible and were able to react quickly to the situation, and others weren't, and the ones that weren't aren't here anymore. So being able to pivot is hugely important.
And so how does improv help an organization do that, or a company, corporation?
Improv helps you not be stuck in a mindset that you don't even know you're stuck in. People talk about thinking outside the box. First you have to realize there is a box. And then you can choose, do I want to be in the box? It's a good box, I like this box. Or do we want to step over here and see what this is like?
The question that I would ask is that, who built your box?
Yes.
Right, because that box tends to be, are you coming about?
Yes, I am.
This is fun, I get to just stay right here.
Yeah. You're in a good spot.
So the box tends to be a combination of expectations that others put on you, as well as the expectations you've put on yourself.
And that's a large part of our work, is getting people to realize that those expectations, first of all, exist, that there are these voices in your head and in the room, right? What's the ambient narrative is one of the questions we'll ask. In other words, what's the truth that we all agree exists, even though we've never talked about it, right? That's not the way we do it here. Well, how come?
Right.
Show me the rule book. Where does it say that? What do we think is true? This is nice.
We're flying.
Yeah. And we're going to come about in now. So what do we just all decide is true for our organization? We've never discussed, we've never planned, we've never done anything. It just is holding us in this sort of matrix that may not be the best. If you have an improviser's perspective, you can take a look at that. A lot of the corporate work is also about story. Human beings learn with story, and we store information with story. We even define ourselves with story, right? What's your story? I, for example, am an old salt, been sailing all my life. That's a lie. And if you can learn to use story as an active tool, you can change the story for yourself, your personal life, for your organization. You can find the right story to tell to make your sale or to network or what have you. You know, people talk about an elevator speech. Elevators don't have ears. Have you ever been to an event where people just read their resume to each other? It's incredibly boring, right? If you tell your story, though, people listen.
You once said to me, you said everybody's always performing.
Both on stage and off, is to expand the range of performance. Like I have granddaughters, and the way I talk to my granddaughters is not the way I talk to you. They're both authentic, but they're radically different performances. If I spoke to you, hey, this is really fun. We're on a boat. Isn't this cool? Wow. You must love having a boat. I mean, that's like, it's just wrong. Right?
It's creepy.
It's creepy. So, a lot of those performance shifts we make without thinking about it. To be a good improviser, to be a good performer, you want to think about it. And then expand your range. If I only had those two performances, this interview performance and the grandfather performance, I'd be in trouble. Right? I mean, you need the Your Honor performance. Right?
The one where you just got a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
Here, just record on that. There we go.
Yes, Your Honor, I really have no excuse. I'm sorry, sir. And you should give me the full fine. Of course, I might lose my house. That performance.
Very genuine, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
Radio check. Joey, copy.
So to be able to consciously expand a performance range, which is a very uncomfortable thing to do at first, and people don't feel like it is authentic, but it didn't feel really authentic when you were learning to walk either. Very little wind right now. Trying to catch it. Part of the whole improv philosophy is, make your partner look good, yes, and that whole thing. When you were learning to walk, somebody celebrated it even when you fell down. Oh, look, Mikey's trying to walk. That's okay, honey. Right? If they had said, you idiot, that's not the way you walk, you wouldn't be walking. If you tell your story, though, people listen.